Welcome to Season 2 of Difference Talks, brought to you by the LaBov Marketing, Communications, and Training Team. Our guests are inspiring people who share their stories of brand differentiation. Based on our book, The Power of Differentiation, our goal is to inspire 1 million people with the message that winning hearts and minds are the first step in growing market share. Now, on with the show.
Welcome, everybody, to Difference Talks. Joining me today is Marcus McMillen, VP and co-owner of LaBov. I am co-owner and founder of LaBov and author of The Power of Differentiation. We have Ethan Decker with us today. He is a scientist, and he's going to talk about the science of branding. He's going to dispel a few myths out there. He's going to make us feel less unique in some ways, but also enable us and empower us to understand that our brand has a value to it. And if we understand that and we can differentiate ourselves, we can be successful. So a little bit about Ethan. He is a scientist. He has also worked at some of the major ad agencies worldwide. He has studied human evolution, urban metabolism, and of course, branding. So Ethan, we're going to turn it to you. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, and then we're going to get into this conversation, and we're going to shake up a few concepts that we have all become very comfortable with. So over to you, Ethan.
Thanks for having me, Barry. I don't know whether to say that I'm a scientist in marketing or a creative in the world of science. I actually wrote musicals when I was younger, and I was into theater and musical theater quite a bit. I've always done creative things, built zines and written a lot as well. But yes, I actually did study urban metabolism for what it's worth. And this is not the time nor place to get into that. But when I got into advertising, I came in with a little bit of a scientist perspective, which was, what are the laws? What's the science of branding and brand growth in advertising? And I was shocked to find very few people knew about any or talked about any. So it was very much a free-for-all for do what's right. And, well, we believe in this, whether it's love marks or the unique selling proposition. Everybody had their own idea, but there was very little consensus about how marketing works, how shoppers really shop, how ads really work. So the scientific perspective is what led me to look for the universal laws or the universal patterns of these things in the world of marketing and branding. And I found some. And so it's been really fun to share those with folks in a very non-scientific way.
Many people, many companies, brands feel like, well, wait a minute, our marketplace is a little different. Our segment has different rules. Our country has a different type of culture. And I believe your approach is, wait a minute, humans are humans. Yep. Share some of those laws.
Yep. Okay, here's one of them. Have you guys ever heard of the banana curve?
No, I have not. No.
Okay.
No.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't, because it's not a thing yet, but we're trying to make it a thing. So the banana curve is the nickname for what is technically called the negative binomial distribution. And that's a mouthful. But then again, we all know the bell curve, right? Everybody knows the bell curve, but that's a nickname. It's not called that. It's called something like the Gaussian distribution. So the negative binomial, aka the banana, is the universal distribution of how frequently your buyers buy you. Light buyers, medium buyers, heavy buyers, right? We think of that in those terms. And it turns out pretty much every brand around the world, especially consumer brands, but even B2B brands, if you've got more than 2 customers, if you're serving more than just the Department of Defense, then you have tons of people who buy you once over, let's say, a year if you're coffee, or 5 years if you're a car. You have half as many people who buy you twice over that same purchase cycle. And then you've got half as many who buy you 3 times, half as many who buy you 4, and down and down and down. So it's like a ski slope, or it's like a long tail, but it's also like a banana, shaped like a banana. And what we find is, first of all, a lot of folks are resistant to this. They believe they've got loyal customers who buy them all the time and who only buy them. And it's, Poppy probiotic soda, and people suddenly have just converted to buying Poppy all the time, and all you have is heavy buyers. Well, it's not true. Over and over and over, when we look at the data, and when I look at my clients' purchasing distribution, I find the banana curve, which is you've got tons of light buyers and very few medium and a tiny number of heavy. Now, yes, the heavy do buy proportionally a fair bit of your stuff, but the light buyers can be up to 50% of your revenue. So they matter. They matter a lot. But it's a universal law. And again, we find it when we look at the data.
Using that and kind of brand loyalty, speak on, your aspect or your perspective on brand loyalty, because it sounds like there may not be that much of it, right?
Oh, yeah, you're touching a nerve there, Marcus.
Yep.
I hate the word brand loyalty, the concept of it, the word loyalty in the realm of branding. And this is why. I'm going to tell you the second law, which is, again, technically called double jeopardy. But the second law basically shows that larger brands have more buyers, and those buyers buy them more frequently. Smaller brands have fewer buyers, and those buyers also buy less frequently, or they commit less of their wallet, the share of wallet as it's called, to that brand. So if you're Toyota, you have a ton of buyers and you have a ton of repeat purchase. You've got like a healthy, at least 50% repeat purchase rate, which in cars is healthy. Again, that means 50% of people don't buy Toyota again after they've owned a Toyota.
Right.
So there's a fair bit of churn. But 50% is a great repeat purchase rate, because if you're, I don't know, Mini Cooper has a tiny market share. They have many fewer customers, and those customers only have like a 25% repeat purchase rate. And that is another universal law of almost every category we've studied. It dispels this belief, this myth that you can be small like Mini Cooper and have fanatical loyalty. That, oh my God, when people who are mini people, all they do is buy minis. It's not true. Even, well, you've probably heard of this little motorcycle brand called Harley Davidson. Even Harley doesn't have Harley's vaunted mythical levels of loyalty. Even Harley has patterns of repeat purchase, which are predictable based on its size. And if Honda is a bigger motorcycle company, Honda is going to get more repeat purchase. So yeah, I've got a bone to pick with the concept of brand loyalty.
Yeah. But even to that, is there brand loyalty in those larger brands, or does it need to be called something else? Is it defined in a different way?
Yeah, that's really where we should go. First of all, loyalty combines, confuses, and conflates two really different things. One is, how do you feel about a brand? Like, I might be fanatical about Ferrari, and all I might have is a Ferrari baseball cap. So am I a loyal person to Ferrari or not? It's hard to say. Or I might love my one pair of I don't know what, Ferragamo fine leather shoes that I bought once when I was at a big fat job in New York City. And I love my Ferragamos, but I'll never buy another pair of Ferragamos because that's my one nice pair of loafers from Italy. So like, okay, love is one thing. And then you've got behavior, which is the purchase behavior. Now, like I said, I might never buy Ferrari or more than a baseball cap or a second pair of Ferragamos, but maybe I buy Drano every year because my pipes are old and I'm in an old apartment and they clog all the time. So I am a very regular buyer of Drano. I have no love for Drano. I have no loyalty feelings for Drano. So that's one of the first problems of the concept of loyalty, is it just combines these two really, really different things that may or may not have any connection at all.
Piggybacking off of Marcus, I think loyalty is sometimes absolutely the wrong word. So I want to ask you this, Ethan. you look at airline miles and oh, there's an airline loyalty program.
Yep.
Well, am I loyal to, let's say, Delta because I have all these airline miles and I get freebies and I get moved up to first class and all this? Is that really loyalty, or are they kind of, I hate to use the word bribing, but are they kind of bribing me to stay on? So I do stay on, and I'm doing that as long as I have my, airline loyalty points. How does that work in your mind?
Yeah, bribing is a fine word. You can use that word. That's okay. I use it to talk about how I get my kids to do their laundry as well.
Okay,
You bribe
good.
them, right? You bribe them. Bribing is indeed one of the core ways brands get people to repeat, buy them again, or to even try them. We bribe consumers with huge discounts if you switch to our mobile carrier, or we bribe consumers with big, deep discounts if you're the first time customer. First time to Spotify, get our special annual rate. And so bribes happen all the time. Absolutely. And you're right. It's when you look at it that way, loyalty is just a very pretentious word to add to something which traps you into using a certain airline over and over to get the miles and the perks and therefore get enough status that you can choose your seat instead of be assigned to one. Now, this is not to say that those programs don't work in getting people to come back and buy you again and again, or try you at all. There are effective loyalty programs. It's just a real shame that they're called loyalty programs.
Many of us have read the book 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing, right? And many others from that. I mean, what are some of these other laws that are just kind of the fabric of marketing that we maybe overlook, or we assume that we can change them? I think that's the interesting thing. Barry kind of put it in the beginning, my industry is different, our business is different, our audience is very different. So what we have to do has to be something different. But I think, we've talked many times that there's constraints that we like to live within and be creative within. So laws for us, and I think Barry would nod to this, actually thrills us. It excites us because we can kind of stay creative within these guardrails. But yeah, speak to some of these universal laws.
Yeah, and we have to be careful about even what we mean when we say the word laws, because Reese and Trout, the guys who wrote 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing, and that's what, 30 years ago, 40 years ago? It's a great book.
Yeah.
Great book. They have a lot of laws in the sense of what you should do, right? Thou shalt be the first brand to come to people's minds. And if you can't come to people's minds, be the first cola brand, then thou shalt create a subcategory that you can be the first in. So you're not the first cola brand, you're now the first probiotic cola brand, like Poppy. And those are, some of those are really good, but I don't know. I did a little analysis, and about 50% of them don't always hold. So for instance, they say thou shalt be the first to your category. And the iPod, which I actually have over my shoulder here, some original iPods, they were not the first MP3 players.
No, they weren't.
Right? Samsung's washer and dryer were not the first washer and drying machines, but now they're the best. We could go on, but like Google certainly was not the first search engine. So like they say, yeah, thou shalt be the first in your category, but the evidence shows that 50% of the time, if you're the first, you win. 50% of the time, you don't. So when we talk about laws, what I like to talk about are the patterns, the regularities that are out there in the world. Just like gravity says, well, when you drop objects, they fall, or they smash together, so to speak. They come together based on the mass of the object. And so it's not about what you should do, but it's about what always happens over and over. So that double jeopardy law is a great one. The notion that if you're a big brand, you have more buyers and they buy you more frequently. And if you're a small brand like Mini Cooper, you have fewer buyers and they buy you less frequently. They actually are less, quote, loyal to you. So that's a universal law. And I've got all these examples from category after category. Kombucha is one of them. Cars is one of them. Sneakers is one of them. If you're a big brand like Nike, people repeatedly buy you a lot. And if you're a tiny brand like On Running or Hoka,
Right.
which are relatively tiny, even though you hear about the fanatics, you hear about the people who love their Hokas and they're so soft and smushy and it's like running on marshmallows. That's a small minority of your buyers. And most people will try Hokas and then go back to Brooks or back to Nike. So yeah, it's a universal pattern.
Okay, so it's a universal pattern, Ethan. Why would the larger company, all things equal, have so-called loyalty or repeat purchase at a higher percentage? What's behind your scientific discovery there or learning?
Yeah, there are a couple of reasons that those large companies have more buyers that buy them more often. One of them is they're just more readily available in the market. They're just easier to find. You can go to dozens of stores in your city or online, hundreds of stores online, and find Nike. It's harder to find Hoka. Quite simply. I mean, if you're going to look for cars, same thing. You can find Toyotas in every zip code in the country and probably, every zip code in the world, every area in the world. But trying to find a Mini Cooper is hard. So it's just a default that people will pick a big brand. And then the second thing is, let's say you're new to sneakers, new to running sneakers. You're going to start jogging finally, get in shape this year. 2025 is the year. You're going to default to a familiar brand. And that's because as humans, as animals, and this is where some of my past life comes into play here, better safe than sorry is a really great rule of thumb. And it's safer to pick a big familiar brand than it is to pick a weird small brand you might have never heard of. So big brands get a lot more buyers. And then, like I said, because they're easy to find and because they often have more products, more choices, Toyota makes every type of vehicle under the sun, it's easier to continually buy them over and over. So there are reasons inside our brains, between our ears, why we like to pick the big brands more than the small ones. And then there are reasons in the market in the sense that Toyota and Nike just make a ton of products and they're available in a ton of places and they're easy to buy.
So I guess what's the silver lining then, Ethan, for those smaller brands to enter, to get in, to grab an audience? I mean, what is it then? Why keep working at it if you know where they're at?
Sounds very demoralizing, doesn't it? Like, you're screwed if you're small. Which, in a way, there is absolutely kind of a pit of despair a lot of my clients go through as I work with them. I do trainings on this stuff. I also work on brands, but I do a lot of training on the laws of brand growth and how the markets really work. And then, of course, how shoppers shop and how advertising works. And in the trainings, people get into this place of, oh, crap, well, we're screwed, or the laws are against us and there's no hope. And it turns out that there are lots of great strategies. And Trout and Reese, the guys you mentioned earlier, the 22 immutable laws, they've got really great tricks to help smaller brands. But the other piece is when you accept and embrace some of these laws, it's freeing. It's liberating. For instance, the banana curve law I talked about, that every brand has a banana curve of buyers. At first, you're like, oh, you mean I don't have crazy loyalty? I don't have fanatics who just buy me all the time. I've got all these people who've tried me once. Well, it seems really sad until you realize, wait a minute, I don't have to chase this unrealistic dream of getting fanatics who will only buy my probiotic soda. I can chase millions of people who will buy me once this year. And I've got a much bigger pond to fish in. And so there's a freedom to a lot of these laws too. And then there's some efficiencies you can get to when you stop trying to make water flow uphill and defy the laws of brand physics. Yeah.
When we get back from break, we're going to talk about some of those opportunities because our audience includes large companies, Harley Davidson, Audi, but also a lot of smaller companies, a lot of upstarts, a lot of best kept secret companies that are listening or watching, and they're trying to learn, and they're inspired by this kind of thinking. So we'll be right back on Difference Talks.
Difference Talks is a LaBov production. Our focus is differentiation, and we believe it's more important than ever to differentiate your brand and experience. Contact us at LaBov.com for a conversation. We'd love to connect with you.
Welcome back to Difference Talks. Ethan Decker, scientist, creative guy. Here's a question. You have a book that you've been working on, Laws and Levers of Brand Growth. Please not just share the book, share the excitement of this content, because it actually segues perfectly from our discussion before break. Ian, it's all yours. Whoops, hold on. Let me do this again. I said, Ian, let's back up. I'm going to do this different anyway.
You got it.
All right, we're going to do a different ramp up here, guys. Okay, here we go. Welcome back to Difference Talks. We are with Ethan Decker. He's going to explain the laws and levers of brand growth, which, by the way, will be the title of his upcoming book. Ethan, it's all yours.
So we talked a bit about the laws in the first half of this conversation. I call the system laws and levers because there is this other half. The laws are like the laws of gravity, but think about this. Physics can tell you how to build a skyscraper or an airplane so that, the skyscraper stays up and that the airplane flies, but they can't tell you how to make people gasp in wonder or feel thrilled by that skyscraper or that airplane. That's where the levers come in. The levers are the different things brands can pull because brands are different. For instance, let's say you are a soda company. Like we were talking about Poppi recently. Poppi does not have specific usage data about exactly how many ounces people sip per meal. Now, if you're Spotify, you've got every little tiny micro usage data that listeners have. So you know exactly what they've listened to, exactly when they listen to it, exactly how long they listen to it. You've got terabytes of data. So if you're Poppi, there are things you can't do that Spotify can do. And so Spotify did a lovely campaign a couple of years ago. And frankly, they now repeat it personally for you, where they took people's individual data and they turned it into billboards. Like to the guy who played I'm Sorry 43 times on Valentine's Day, I hear you. Or to the 4,000 people who played It's the End of the World as We Know It during Brexit, we stand with you. And so they could use their data in a really fun, creative way for their marketing. Poppi can't do that. But then again, Poppi is delicious and tasty. And Spotify is not delicious, and you can't drink Spotify. So there are things Poppi can do that Spotify can't. So different brands can pull different levers, and that's the notion of levers. The other important piece is there are a lot of folks out there who have success. Gary Vaynerchuk has had great success early in his career. I think he was selling wine and beer online.
Yeah. He was a wine guy,
Yep. And one of his big pieces of success was publishing lots of stuff online and becoming a social media person. Now, it works great for him. He thinks everybody should do that. He thinks everybody has to do that. He thinks TV is dead. Well, sorry, Gary, but TV is far from dead. So what works for Gary does not have to work for you. It may not, but you don't have to be posting 8 videos onto your social feeds every single day and 3-hour conversations every single week. That works for Gary. That's a lever he pulls. It's not a lever you have to pull. You guys might have heard of Restoration Hardware.
Yes.
It's a big, healthy furniture brand. It's got about $3 billion in revenue. So very big.
Yeah.
It has about $500 million in profit. So it's very profitable, which is something you can't say about a lot of these unicorns and fancy brands. They literally do not have social media accounts. You cannot find Restoration Hardware on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok. Now, Gary Vee or some other folks like that might say, you have to be on TikTok. That's where everyone is. That's where the eyeballs are. You have to be posting. They're playing a very different playbook. They have different levers that they're pulling. And one of them is the catalog. That's right. The classic lever, the classic play from 1895, Sears Roebuck, the
Right.
catalog.
Mm-hmm.
They send 1,000 pages of catalogs out every year. And it works. And it's great. So that's where I think it's really important to know the laws, but also know the limits of those and what they can't predict or tell you. And that's where the levers come in. These are the different things you can pull depending upon not just what data you have available to you or what industry you might be in, but also what you choose to pull. So yeah, the laws and levers, it's a really helpful system for understanding how to market effectively.
Is there one lever that's often overlooked that businesses just doesn't even register? They overlook it.
Yeah. There is one really, really simple lever to pull, which is, well, I don't even know whether to call it color or whether to call it character, but it's just being, oddly enough, it's just being different, just looking different. You might notice I wear a lot of orange. If you look me up online, you'll see a whole lot of orange charts and graphs, and my website is orange. When I give out dark chocolate at my meetings, it's orange wrapper, dark chocolate. Other people might get tired of it. I might even get tired of it. But, it's like Coca-Cola's not tired of red and white. And whenever you see that Coke truck go by, or I should say, whenever you see a red and white truck with some script go by, your first thought is Coca-Cola. And lots of companies don't value or appreciate the importance of just looking different and standing out in that really simple, basic way compared to the 30 other email software companies out there, or the 12 other new probiotic or acidophilus bifidus kombucha level sodas that are out there. You just have to look different so people remember which one you even are. Very undervalued.
And that really speaks to us because we focus on differentiation. And a lot of times, Ethan, and you're alluding to this, people think, well, we're not really that different. I mean, somebody else might be better here. We're not superior. It's not superiority. It's that uniqueness, that character, that flavor, whatever you want to call it, where you honor it. You say, okay, like you're honoring the color orange. Okay.
Yep.
You honor it and you go, this is what we're doing. This is why we're a little different. We're not saying we're perfect, but that's how we are going to stand out. Now, Marcus and I just had a fascinating discussion with Joe Pine, who I think you probably are familiar with. He's the creator of a book called The Experience Economy, and he's working on a new book called Transformation Economy. Where do you see the brand experience in all of what you do? So we've talked about some products, we talked about brands, but curiously, do you have a position on, okay, here's what your brand experience should be, should not be, or maybe more Decker-esque? It's like, stop worrying about blah, blah, blah regarding your experience. I'd love to hear what you think.
First of all, when I think of brand, I like to say that there's little b brand, which is your color and your logo and your fonts, right? Maybe the shape of your product. But then there's your big B brand, which is your whole company and the whole thing. And more, I would say, Barry, that your brand experience is your offering, your entire complete offering. McDonald's may not make the objectively best burger,
right,
but the offering of price and quality and service and cleanliness and convenience and locations, and you look for the golden arches and you can find them, and there you go, and you're a quarter mile off the exit and you can get back on the highway, whatever that is. That's their brand experience, and it's a complete totality. And I think that's vital. You need to think of your whole thing as a totality, not just in isolation, or not just thinking you have to be unique in the product. For instance, I think we all know 5 or 6 different insurance brands, right? You can probably rattle off a couple off
Sure.
the top of your head right now.
Mhm.
Geico, Aflac,
Progressive.
Progressive,
Right.
Allstate,
Allstate.
State Farm,
Hmm.
Liberty Mutual.
Right.
I'll bet you can tell me a whole lot more about what color they are than whether they cover hail damage, or which
Mm.
one has superior roadside assistance, or which one covers a higher percent of claims,
Hmm.
or which one calls you back faster.
Mm.
Right? All these
Right.
service differences, all the actual product differences, we barely know these, but we very much can tell an Aflac ad from a Geico ad, because one of them has a duck screaming at you and one of them has a gecko talking at you. So yeah, you need to find ways to be different, because being different helps you be remembered at all.
Hmm.
That was the biggest challenge for Geico. Like, why would you remember Geico? It's a silly name. It's weird. They sell basically the same insurance products as 20 other companies in America. But 25 years ago, they had a gecko at a press conference on an ad that said, "I know everyone's looking for insurance and they're looking for Geico. That's not me. I'm a gecko." And they stuck with it for 25 years, and now it's one of the strongest brands in the world.
Is there any other myths out there that we need to get rid of and move on from?
One more thing to debunk might be that somehow you need a unique selling proposition. This is an old concept. I'm sure you guys know this quite well.
Yeah.
The
Sure.
USP.
Right.
You need to, if you're going to start a software company that does email service, or some new integrated communication platform like Slack, you're going to be the next Slack, and you need something unique about your product. I think that's kind of a myth. I think there are lots of, well, look at how many Me Too insurance companies there are.
Absolutely.
We can't tell whether State Farm or Allstate both cover home and auto, whether they cover boats or hail damage. I mean, maybe there's some differences, but there's probably nothing currently unique about State Farm, Allstate, or Geico. They're trying, but you don't have to be unique to succeed. So that's one that also is one of those like huge pressure valve releases for people, especially, and not just for small brands. I mean, I've worked with the largest brands in the world: Coca-Cola, Nike, Procter and Gamble, Whirlpool, Lazy Boy. I've done some fantastic, great work with Lazy Boy lately. Really excited about that stuff. You don't have to be the only recliner in the world that has this specific feature to succeed. So if you let go of the need to be unique, oh my God, you can do such better marketing, and you can have a lot more success and a lot more fun.
But being memorable is definitely something you probably want to focus on.
Oh, heck yeah. And having maybe some unique elements like your brand itself. And the brand itself, some people think that's too narrow of a thing, like a logo or a character. But if you see a character dude made out of tires, from head to toe, made out of white tires,
that's Michelin. Yeah.
Totally. Or if you see a gecko that speaks in an Australian accent,
right?
Geico.
Gotta be
you
Geico.
know it's Geico. And there's a reason Geico didn't pick an elephant or an eagle. They picked a mascot who's one letter away from their brand name. Geico, Gecko, Gecko, Geico.
Right.
And so you just have to find some differences. So I'm fully on board with you about being different and trying to be differentiated, but don't feel the need to be unique. You don't have to be unique to succeed.
Ethan, we like to ask, what is your best day, Ethan? And typically it's a day that at least we feel like it's at the end of a day and you're not necessarily wiped out and tired from what you've done in the day, but maybe more thrilled, excited. You've done something to get you going and jumps you into the next day. What does that best day look like for you?
A best day for me would be a good balance of things where I connect with the people I love. Maybe I have some friends over for some cocktails, and maybe I do some exercise, of course, and get outside, get out into the world, get off the computer. but also I'm productive. I get some stuff done. I create things. And then I have one more little balance trick for myself is I like to balance input and output, which is to say I like to learn things and absorb and read and discover, but then I also get too itchy if I'm not creating and putting things out into the world as well. So a best day for me would be a nice balance of all those things.
Ethan, thank you. We loved today's discussion, and it's all about, that intersection of science and creativity. It's also about dispelling myths. It's allowing us to realize that what we offer does not have to be, you said unique, does not have to be superior, perfect. We just need to make sure that we find ways to differentiate ourselves so that our potential clientele recognize and remember us. How can people learn more about you?
The easiest way is to head over to appliedbrandscience.com. I am also pretty active over on LinkedIn. So if you go over to LinkedIn, you can find me under E.H. Decker, or just search for any of these things or search for my name and I will pop up at this point.
Thank you today, Ethan Decker. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Very scientific, but also very, very uplifting in an emotional sense as well. So until next time, this has been Difference Talks. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Difference Talks. All of us at LaBov are proud to celebrate great people with inspiring messages. Difference Talks was created, produced, engineered, and performed by the LaBov team. Even the music is original. Contact us at LaBov.com to learn how to differentiate your brand and give your team a sense of significance and meaning.